You're listening to the AstroMommy Daily Horoscope, a forecast that hopes to shine a light in the dark, helping us all see where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time subscriber, thanks for being here. I truly appreciate you being in the AstroMommy community. I hope you enjoyed today's horoscope and card reading. If you would like to support the AstroMommy Newsletter, there are several ways to do so. Subscribe on Substack, share it with a friend, schedule a reading, check out my family's Etsy shop, Metaphysical Flamingo, or just leave a tip. Without further ado, here is the Daily Horoscope. The Bogs and Eddies of Life, Sun Conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Daily Horoscope for Wednesday, March 15th, 2023. Good morning, friends. The energy of today feels very surreal and dreamlike to me, like one of those dreams that morphs from one environment to the next without reason or logic, and when you try to explain it to someone, it seems odd, weird, and impossible. So I'm going to try to attempt to organize my thoughts into something that flows naturally and eloquently, but if I get stuck in the bogs or eddies, bear with me, the fog is thick today. Okay, let's get into the astrology. Well, here it is, folks. The exact conjunction of the Sun and Neptune is happening tonight at 7:16 p.m. Eastern Time. As I've been saying, as the energy has been building up to this moment, this could be a big one that knocks over a domino in your life, unfolding a series of fated events. This could be an intense transit, or it could be an enlightening one. Astronomically, the Sun has blocked Neptune from view. Not that we can see Neptune without aid, but if we could see it, it would be like a rebirth for Neptune. It feels like the rebirth of a waveform called a tide. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, quote, tides are one of the most reliable phenomena in the world. As the sun rises in the east and the stars come out at night, we are confident that the ocean waters will regularly rise and fall along our shores. Tides are very long-period waves that move through the ocean in response to the forces exerted by the moon and sun. Tides originate in the ocean and progress toward the coastlines where they appear as the regular rise and fall of the sea surface, unquote. Thinking about this metaphorically and symbolically, the re-emergence of Neptune from behind the sun is like a new tide forming, deep within the subconscious. Each year the sun makes a conjunction with Neptune, and every year the cycle starts over again. Last year, the Sun and Neptune conjoined on March 13th, 2022. Think back to that time to find clues as to how this archetypal combination shows up in your life. For me, personally, last year, I was in the middle of a dietary cleanse using bone broth. The results of that cleanse were a clearer head, mentally and physically, as I had to cut out carbs for 3 weeks and I didn't realize how much mucus carbs were making that were literally being stored in my head. I felt clearer, lighter, and my skin had more luminosity. It felt like an amazing way to end the astrological year and begin the new one, mentally fresh and clear. My diet ended right after the sun ingressed into Aries, beginning the new astrological year with the spring equinox. I had also just started writing on Substack and was figuring out how much writing I wanted to commit to. At that time, I had only written a few posts, but the idea, inspiration, and dream of writing a daily horoscope was swelling within me like a new wave. Now, a little over 1 year later from my very first post on Substack on February 7th, 2022, I am writing daily like the daily ebb and flow of the tides. Below is the chart of the exact time of the conjunction between the Sun and Neptune at 25 degrees Pisces, 6 minutes at 7:16 p.m. Eastern Time. The Sun conjunct Neptune indicates a cycle of something coming to be and passing away, like the ebb and flow of the daily tides. Inspiration comes in and inspiration goes out. We are dreaming, fantasizing, and imagining, and then we are not. This could feel surreal, confusing, and mentally foggy, but this reconnection brings clarity and light that cuts through the fog like a ray of sunshine. Enlightenment is often a word associated with Neptune that means learning great insights, knowledge, and awareness from a connection to a higher source, and often the dreams of our subconscious reveal these powerful truths. When Neptune and the Sun come together, it's like shining a light on the doorway to another dimension, or the surreal dream world. Speaking of dreams, my daughter had a nightmare last night. She said the dream was like a show, and she was the main character. It was a tree town where everyone lived in tree homes, and it was beautiful. In the dream, everyone had a file, like a file folder, which held their existence and attached them to their physical body. Everyone had to hold onto this file. If they let go or dropped their file while crossing from tree to tree, their face or their whole body would melt off and they would die, dissolving into the earth below their feet. She had been climbing a tree and holding her file in her mouth so that she could scale the tree. For some reason, there were rocks in the tree, and she slammed her left hand against one of them, rendering it limp and useless. She felt panicked that she wouldn't be able to hold on to her file any longer, so she glued her file to her hand with a glue gun, eliminating the worry about dropping her file and dying. She shared this dream with me while I was writing this post, and it seemed so Sun-Neptune. The connection between the soul and the material world and our spiritual attachments to it and fear of letting go and dissolving back into the earth. It sparked a great conversation about death and life and making peace with death instead of living in fear of it. She felt better, and I resumed my writing. So there could be some very enlightening moments today that not only offer deep truths, but also foster deep connections with your mission, your purpose, and your destiny. A few more thoughts about today. I think it's also interesting to note that historically, March 15th is known as the Ides of March, the day on which Julius Caesar was assassinated by members of the Roman Senate. If we look at the chart of March 15th, 44 BC, there are several things that stand out, but something I found really fascinating with the chart for today and the chart from back then was that we are having a nodal return to this chart. Today, the nodes are in Taurus and Scorpio and are at 4 degrees 45 minutes of arc right now, and will hit the exact same 4 degrees 11 minutes of arc that they were on the Ides of March back in 44 BC, on April 2nd, 2023, the exact same degree that they were when Julius Caesar was assassinated. Now, I don't know a whole lot about the history surrounding his assassination, but I do know that it was a turning point in Roman history. Another interesting thing to note about the chart from then was that Pluto was at the 29th degree of Gemini, stationing direct, and just months away from his ingress into Cancer, which happened on May 12th, 44 BC, according to Solar Fire. Pluto right now is at the 29th degree of Capricorn, traveling direct and just 8 days away from his ingress into Aquarius on March 23rd, 2023. So the nodes were the same, and Pluto was in the anaretic degree of a sign, meaning a significant change was about to happen, and is about to happen. The last degree of Gemini is within the bounds of Mars, whereas the last degree of Capricorn is within the bounds of Saturn. My thoughts on this are simple. The bounds of Mars may bring more bloodshed, and the bounds of Saturn more restriction and imprisonment. The moon in Capricorn. And last but not least, the moon ingressed into Capricorn this morning, and we may be feeling like doing some busy work we need to get done, like finishing our taxes or mowing the lawn, cleaning out the fridge or your car. You get the idea. With all the crazy stuff that's going on in our world right now politically, some mundane but necessary tasks may be just what the doctor ordered to keep from freaking out about it all. Let's move on to the card for the day. What is the guidance for today? 26, second house, owning. The first thing that I thought when I pulled this card was Gollum from Lord of the Rings saying, "My precious." I think that there is definitely an air of wanting to hold on to that which we possess and feel very attached to, and this could be in an almost obsessive way. So this card is about money and our possessions, how we make, spend, and manage them. It also represents intangible assets like our self-esteem, personal values, and talents. It brings up things that we own and how we own up to things. Firstly, I feel like this is a propitious card and is a confirmation that all our effort we've put into things will be rewarded. It's a token that you have the skills, talents, and confidence to build your wealth in a tangible way. Secondly, given what is happening in the financial world right now, it seems that this card may be a reminder to check on your assets and make sure they are in a secure environment, but I would caution against greed, obsession, and the lure of power. Don't turn into Gollum, right? And thirdly, this card could be coming up today as a symbol of responsibility. How are we taking responsibility in our lives and showing up? Have we built a sturdy foundation of assets that we can build upon, or is our house being washed away by the waters of Neptune? I would love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to leave a comment. I hope this is helpful. Until tomorrow, AstroMommy.
Thank you for reading or listening to the Daily Horoscope. Quick links and resources can be found at the bottom of the newsletter. Today's card was pulled from the Black Moon Astrology cards available on Amazon. If you seek knowledge and enlightenment, the AstroMommy Newsletter may be right for you. Side effects of reading or listening to the AstroMommy Newsletter are common and include joy, jubilation, delight, happiness, gratitude, love, triumph, feeling in tune with the universe, experiencing deep insights, reflections, and contemplations, a lightened soul, a lighter step, feeling awake when others are asleep, illuminated, enlightened, having spiritual experiences, noticing repeating numbers, animals in nature, or songs on the radio that speak to you, getting vibes, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsmelliance. Feeling like you know a secret language, biophilia, crying tears of joy, emotional literacy, feeling lively, stable, exalted, having an auric glow, or feeling like you woke up on the right side of the bed have all been reported. Thanks for listening.